I'm Lynn.
And I'm Mark.
And we're glad you joined us today.
Welcome to the Digital Marketing Hotseat Podcast,
where small business owners ask us their number one pain point digital marketing question.
and put us in the hot seat.
Hi, I'm Lynn Smargis, and I'm a content writer specializing in ghostwriting, podcast production, and SEO website content.
And I'm Mark Thackeray, and I specialize in social media marketing, specifically Facebook and Instagram ads, email marketing, and email automation.
I'm ready, Mark. Are you ready?
I sure am. Let's do this.
Hey, small business owners. We are so glad that you joined us again for another episode of the Digital Marketing Hotseat Podcast, where you get to listen to small business owners putting Mark and me in the hot seat to answer their digital marketing questions. So, Mark, before we jump into the episode this week, how is your digital marketing? What client work has your attention this week?
So one in particular, I'm working with a local dentist. And we're working on a campaign it's a Facebook ad campaign that drives to an opt-in. And so the idea being that their audience can opt in for free for a free resource download. It's a PDF guide that we've put together on how dental implants. And so it's great because it gives them a chance to better understand the ins and outs of dental implants. How much does it cost? How long does it take? That sort of thing, so that the patients can make their best decision possible, essentially. So we're working on both the ad campaign as well as the follow-up sequence to that. And so, yeah, that's what we're kind of knee deep in right now. So we're excited about it. But what about you, Lynn? What client has your attention this particular week?
Well, speaking of lead magnets, a client that I will be working with in the next week is doing a lead magnet, and he's actually doing it as an ebook. So he's doing a 10 to 15 page ebook as a lead magnet, talking about basic questions that people ask him about his vertical, which is a super way to get people onto your email list, which we will have an episode on in the future. But yeah, yes. So lead magnets, like you said, are just so super important to get people noticing you and downloading that resource, because no one's just going to sign up for your email list.
No, no. And there's a lot of, it makes me laugh because there are some people that unfortunately think that is the case, that they just say, hey, sign up for my newsletter, and people will flock to sign up. But the reality is much different.
Yes. In AOL days, they would sign up for your newsletter.
Right. Exactly. Well, cool. Why don't we, so what we're going to be talking about some really neat things this episode. We thought we'd start with really an overview of the basics of digital marketing. These are kind of what we've dubbed the Marketing 101 episodes early on, to set that foundation so that we can then go a little bit deeper and then really dive into those burning questions that people have about their digital marketing. And our goal with all of this too is just to help you be educated on the various components of digital marketing, so that you can decide and determine for yourself what is the best next step that you can take to increase your exposure online. So Lynn, what are some of the topics that we're going to talk about in this particular week or in this episode?
Yeah. So today we're going to just talk about the basic, what is digital marketing? Because I always have clients ask me, hold on 1 second, Mark. I'm recording a podcast episode. Can you not hum, Bear? I can hear your humming. I'm recording an episode. Sorry. Okay, let me do that again. So in the next few episodes, like you said, we're going to do the Digital Marketing 101. So today we're going to talk about what is digital marketing, because I have people ask me that question, what's involved with digital marketing? What are the parts of digital marketing that I need to be concerned about or know about? So we're going to talk about that today. And then in the next couple episodes, so episode 5, we're going to be talking about what is SEO, because a lot of small business owners have heard that term, but don't know exactly what it means or why they need it. And then on episode 6, we're going to unravel the social media mystery, which is one of my favorites, because a lot of my clients will say, I know I need to be on social media, but I don't have the time for it, or I can't keep up with all the changes that social media is making, which makes sense, because in order for me to keep up with all the changes social media is making, I go to 30, 40 hours a year of workshops right. Yeah. And my own reading and stuff. So those are the next couple episodes we have coming up. So definitely come back and tune in if you want to learn some basics of digital marketing, which is where we're going to start, because we know a lot of small business owners, that's where they are, is just the basics of digital marketing.
Exactly. So let's dive right into it. And then let's talk about today in this episode, we wanted to talk about the basic components of digital marketing. And we know that there's probably, I don't know, there's so many different components, but the ones we're going to focus on today are what we feel the most important. So we have the website, your website for your business, social media, and then email. Okay, so those are the three digital marketing components that we've chosen to focus on today. Again, there's others, of course, but these ones we feel carry the most weight. So let's take a few minutes and really unravel unpack what each of these components mean. So website, for example, Lynn, why is a website so critical in today's day and age?
Well, why is a website not important?
I know. As I said that, I'm like, okay, that's an easy question.
Right? No, I know. But it's funny because I still have people who I encounter who have a small business and don't have a website.
Right.
And it kind of blows me away or they'll say, well, I have a Facebook page. Well, one of the things you need to know about Facebook or Instagram, and it's great to have these platforms, but you don't want that as your main digital marketing piece
Right.
for a couple of reasons. One is because anybody can do a Facebook page, so it doesn't really make you look like a legitimate business. And the other is that Facebook and social media platforms are always changing their algorithms, they're always changing their rules. So if they decide for some reason they don't want your business page on anymore, they take it down, guess what? You just lost all of your information and you have no recourse basically because it's Facebook. So it's also important because many people will look at two things when they find out about you, your LinkedIn page and your website. And if you don't have a website, you won't look like a legitimate business. And it doesn't have to be a super fancy website. It can be a basic website, but you need a website to look like a legitimate business and to be able to get your information ranked on Google.
Yeah, and that's so true. What you said about really controlling the message. I mean, I've seen this happen before where a business was solely based on Facebook, for example, or a platform, and then that, like you said, the algorithm can change, or maybe they change some of the rules or the interpretation of some of those rules, and all of a sudden you're out of the game. But with a website, you have full control over the messaging, how they even go through your site and which, your headline and then your content and how they read through that whole experience, you have total control over. And so that's a huge opportunity right there that a lot of people unfortunately are missing out on. They don't think of it that way. A lot of them know that they need a website, but they don't understand the importance of setting it up in the right way. And so, yeah, that's another one that came to mind when you were talking about that. Anything else that strikes you that you would want to bring up about a website, Lynn?
Yeah, like what you said about leveraging your website is so super important. And there's some really easy ways to leverage your website. And one of the things I do to leverage my website is like I create consistent blogs. And then what I do is just take that blog link and put it on my social media to get it more exposure, to get people coming back to my website, because you want people to spend time at your website. And there's lots of different things you can do for that, including like embedding YouTube videos on your website as well. So using your website as a leverage marketing point, like a leverage digital marketing point, is so super important in today's digital age.
Yeah. And that brought up another point too, as you were talking about that, Lynn, is that if you're just solely on a social media platform, maybe it's LinkedIn, maybe it's Facebook, and you draw someone there, but what else is there too? Your whole competition, essentially. I mean, there's notifications going off in the right hand corner, and it's so hard to stay engaged because there is literally so much going on. But on a website, you can fully control that experience, like we talked about. And so it's almost as if you were having a one-to-one conversation with someone. They're not getting notifications, they're not being drawn off the side unless you intentionally put something there to do that. But you have control over that experience, which is so key. And then, like you said too, Lynn, I mean, and we're going to be talking about this next episode, but as you're creating original content, that is going to, such as a blog post or a YouTube video, things like that, that is going to help you increase your listing rank on search engines. And so Google and Yahoo and Bing and that sort of thing, you will start to receive organic traffic as you climb up those rankings. And so a website, man, is absolutely necessary. In case you haven't gotten that point yet, it's absolutely critical in this day and age.
It is definitely square one for your digital marketing for sure, no matter what business you're in.
Yeah.
Do you need more people visiting your website? Are you looking for higher ranking on Google searches? Or are you frustrated by the ever-changing rules of social media?
Mark and I are here to take away the headaches and stress of digital marketing with services such as website content, social media ads, and website SEO. We can provide the digital marketing magic you need to increase the number of people seeing your website and clicking on your business links.
Visit our website at www.digitalmarketinghotseat.com and hit us up on our contact page to reserve your complimentary consult. Find out how our marketing team can take the worry and hassle of digital marketing off of your plate and onto ours.
Okay, well, let's go on to social media. And we both love this platform for different reasons. What do you love about it? Why do people need to seriously consider being on social media? And we won't go into specific platforms per se, but yeah, how in your experience, Lynn, why would you recommend to a client to be on social media?
Well, the number one reason I would recommend for a client to be on social media is because it gives you multiple touch points for a customer. So like some of my customers who do social media will say, well, I don't have people directly getting business off of social media. But then I ask them, are you asking them where they're finding you? And they say no. So even if your client doesn't specifically find you on social media first, that's another touch point. You can say, hey, follow me on Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever. So it's another touch point where it remind your customer that you're there, because as you just said before, there's so many notifications and alerts and competition out there that having your face, your brand, your style on social media is really great to get an extra touch point to your customers. So to remind them that you're out there. Another thing that's great to be on social media for, which I've experienced, and I don't know if you've experienced this, Mark, is that you can connect with people on social media, like on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook, that you would not normally be able to connect with because A, they're not in your geographical boundary, or B, they're not in your circle. So I always encourage people, like if there's somebody you want to connect with, reach out to them on social media.
Right.
Like, don't be afraid. Like the worst they can do is not answer you. Right.
Exactly.
But the best thing that could happen is they could say like, hey, like, what's going on? Like, I'd love to talk to you more. So it's always a great way to do that. Also, it's a great way to leverage like influencers or contact influencers if you want an influencer to promote your brand, product, or service. So I've been on both ends of that. I've been the influencer and I've been reaching out to people to help to cross promote some of the things that I sell. So it's really great for that as well.
It is. And I wrote down some notes too, as you were talking about that, because I had very similar thought as I was thinking about social. Is just one, it's the shareability is so much easier. That type of the content on there is so much easier to share than a website. It's just, it basically begs you to share it. If it's good, compelling content, all you have to do, it's a one-click kind of share. So it increases your reach that way. But like you said, I love the fact that it provides multiple touch points, because one of the challenges that we face as businesses is there's so much noise in today's day and age. We are constantly being bombarded by advertising messages and just general messages altogether. They estimate between 5,000 to 9,000 different unique advertising messages a single day that we process. Obviously we're not consciously aware of those, but they're from a billboard to our phones to print mail and things like that, they're always going on. And so we've gotten really adept at shutting those out unless they really call our attention. And that's what's nice about social, is that it gives you that extra touch point to, like you said, Lynn, to remind them that we are there, especially for existing clients. I found this is very, very critical. A lot of people stop being a client because they don't feel appreciated. They don't feel communicated to enough. And so if you're constantly posting on social, or if you're consistently posting on social, I should say, then you're going to have a better chance to retain those clients and customers. The last thing, and I'll just piggyback on what you said, is this idea of collaboration and how much easier it is because of social media. You can, like you just said, I think this is so key to remember. It's so easy to connect with these other people, whether they're influencers or just could potentially be a strategic partner or a referral partner. and collaborate so that it's a win-win scenario for both of you. You're both gaining exposure to each other's audience. And I love the fact that social media, that the collaboration, strategic partnerships is not a new concept, but it's made it so much easier to accomplish that way. And so, yeah, social media provides a tremendous way to do that. And then last is the targeting ability of paid social. So you have close to 3 billion active monthly users on Facebook, which is astounding, right?
Mind blowing.
And then they have so much information on each of us. And I know some people get weirded out by that. I personally don't care. It's more like robots. It's not necessarily an individual that's scouring behind, looking at each person's profile. But anyway, regardless of where you feel, that's the case, is that there's a lot of detailed information on there that allows you to target people specifically and make your marketing that much more effective. So social media is very, very powerful.
So let's jump on to our third main component of digital marketing, which is email, which we are going to be doing an email episode coming up as well. So Mark, why don't you start us off on email and why email is so important? Because we talked about lead magnets to get onto your email list, but why is email so important?
Email is similar to a website. I love to bring up the fact that email hasn't changed very much over the past, since its inception. It really hasn't had. Yes, there's been a few regulations that have been passed. You have to include an opt-out opportunity for your subscribers. They have to opt in, things like that. But apart from that, there's no big algorithmic change that is preventing you from sending email. So it's really neat that it hasn't changed a whole lot. And to your point earlier, Lynn, where if you're based solely on social media, for example, although we love social, of course, but if you're solely based on that and then something changes, or if you're solely based on your Google SEO rank and it changes, you've got nothing, but an email list, you have those people, and really the value is in the relationships. And if you have those relationships, if you have that email list, you can start. If you need to start out, you can start over. You have those people already. And so email is a very, very important part of your digital marketing for that reason. In addition to that, though, it gives you the ability to, even more so than a website, I feel like, is to really develop that relationship, to nurture that relationship with either a client or a potential or a prospect, to help them better trust you, to know, like, and trust you, so that they feel comfortable doing business with you. And this is one of the beautiful, beautiful things about a lead magnet campaign, is where you can provide resource, you can really kind of step up and provide value in advance, so that they don't, they're not taking the risk. You're assuming all the risk. You're giving them all this great information that's helpful. And then you can follow up with them via email. And like I said, nurture them along, build that relationship, and encourage them to take the next step when they're ready. And email is a tremendous way to do that. What else would you add to that list, Lynn?
I was going to say, to highlight what you said before about connecting with your customers. Email is a great way to connect with your customers. And one of the best ways I found to connect with my customers via email is to put a video in each of my emails. And they're super short. They're under 3 minutes. And the great thing is you don't have to be super background or whatever. It's just, it needs to be like you talking to the person on the other side of your video. And it makes it very personal, and it gives you a high open rate. So I always get more than 20% open rates. Sometimes I get 30% open rates, which is really high for email if I have a video on. And the other thing you have to know about email is it's 300 words or less. You don't have to worry about creating insane amounts of content. Very short content, very sweet, very focused. Put a video on there that you create on YouTube to embed it, so it gets more the backlinks. It's so super easy to do, but of course it's one of the last things on everybody's plate, because they think it's not important, and it's really, really important to grow your business.
When it's very inexpensive too. You can subscribe to an email service provider. I use ConvertKit. There's tons of them out there. There's MailChimp and all those things, but it's very inexpensive, and to your point, I think the challenge that a lot of businesses face is they're already trying to do so much that email gets pushed in the back, or they mistakenly believe that, hey, nobody reads email anymore, it's dead, whatever the case may be. But we've seen that email does get read, and it's more, are you sending them the right relevant content. It's not necessarily the fact that it's an email, but it's more of a match with what type of email are you sending them. And I've had some really cool responses from people. We've seen a lot of sales. We've seen a lot of things go on that way to progress the relationship. But also I've just had people email back and just say, you know what, I love reading your emails. They are so well written, because a lot of times we'll include a story in there to drive home a point. And people, or if we didn't get it out on time, hey, where's your email? I thought I was looking for your email. I'm like, that is so funny that we'd actually get someone to say, I was looking for your email. You never thought I'd hear that, but it's true. It's true when you do it right.
Yeah, when you have good content, that is absolutely for sure. And to go also touch on your point about like the cost effectiveness. I mean, MailChimp and ConvertKit give you free email accounts for up to I know ConvertKit's up to 1,000 people. So literally it costs you $0. It's just your time of creating the emails. And if you're spending a lot of money on like print ads or, other ads, and you're spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars, but you don't have an email campaign to follow up with it, you're really missing out on a huge chunk of the digital marketing piece.
Yeah. And that is such a good point. I'm so glad you brought that up. Because a lot of us as business owners, we naturally want to go for those people that are ready to buy now. They did a study, it's a little old now, it's probably 10, 12 years old, but they did a study of people who buy now, and they would follow up with people that had made requests on whether it's an appliance, for example, a new refrigerator or whatever. And then they'd say, okay, this is the time they requested information. They followed up with them 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 18 months after, to see when they went, if they did purchase the whatever it is that they requested information on. And it was really fascinating what they found. They found that of those people that requested information, only 50% went on to buy. But the important thing was that of that 50% that went on to buy, so those buyers, only 15% of those buyers were ready to buy within the first 3 months. Said the vast majority, the 85% did go on to purchase, did so between month 4 and month 18. And so really, this is where I see email come into play, is where you can, and like you were talking about, Lynn, is if you can start getting them onto your email list and you're consistently mailing or emailing them great content every single month, then your chances of converting those people go way up, and your return on investment skyrockets. Because not only are you're talking to those people that were ready to buy and did buy right away, but you now have that 85%, that huge chunk of all those leads that are going to buy at some point. You have them in your system, and you are essentially the incumbent, and so you have the greatest chance to convert them. So such a huge opportunity there for a lot of businesses.
Yeah. And speaking of incumbent, one of the things a lot of small business owners may not know is that your cost for acquiring a new customer is very high.
Yes.
But your customers you already have a very high likely rate of coming back to get other services from you. So if you're marketing with them with email saying like, hey, check out this service, check out this, or like giving them educational information, say, if you want to find out more, contact me on my website or give me a call. That is like the easiest and best ROI and marketing thing you can do that is the most cost effective, because you already have them as a client and you're just selling them more stuff.
Yeah. And that's what I love, is that there's a lot of people that have maybe don't know that you offer these additional services, or they just don't know enough to make that purchase or to subscribe to that particular service. So email is an easy way to help them see what it could be like if they did start increasing their business with you. And to your point, there was another study by Bain and Company a few years back about the profitability increase when you retain your clients for longer. They said a simple 5% increase in retention would lead to anywhere from 25 to 95% increase in profit. And that's exactly what you're talking about. It's so much more. Your ROI just shoots through the roof if you can focus on your existing clients rather than constantly be going after new clients, because it's so much more expensive to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, that was awesome. I know we could keep going on and on and
right?
on. That's what I love about this, Lynn, is that we both, we're so excited about this. but we wanted to keep it kind of short. So
for sure. And if you have any other questions for us, definitely go on our website at digitalmarketinghotseat.com and hit us up on the contact form, and Mark and I will get the questions, and one of us will reply back to you via email. Or if you want us to call you, put your number in there and we'll give you a phone call. But yeah, we'd be happy to answer any of your questions, or you can jump on either of our websites, which are listed in the links, either on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, or on the show notes. And you can click on either one of the complimentary or both of the complimentary links to get to know us a little better, and we can get to know you a little better.
Awesome. So our next episode, we are going to talk about the ever perplexing SEO. We're trying to unravel that, crack the code of SEO, really what SEO means, why SEO is so important for consumers and other businesses, and really how to allow that audience to discover you on the web more easily. So we're excited to dive into that, and we'll see you on the next episode.
We're so glad you joined us on today's episode.
Tune in each week for a new digital marketing hot seat question from a small business owner just like you.
And if you're interested in being a guest on our podcast, go to digitalmarketinghotseat.com and fill out our interview form.
And remember, make sure to like and subscribe to the Digital Marketing Hot Seat Podcast on your favorite podcast player.